Well, I'd done a couple of stories before over the last 10, 15 years, a couple of different political stories here, um, largely about Cuban exile politics in one form or another. Jeb Bush and Cuban exiles, a guy who was Assistant Secretary of State for Latin America who was a Cuban exile. And the sort of South Florida Cuban American community was interesting to me, and I'd done a couple of pieces there. Um, and then I hadn't been here for a few years, and it was obviously changing, and there were all kinds of people in that world who were not the hardcore anti-Castro diehards. There were all kinds of shades of opinion and that one didn't hear about until one got here and talked to people. So that was always interesting. But the way that the city became not less Latino, but less Cuban. As waves of Nicaraguans and Colombians and Venezuelans have made a kind of pan-Latino. That's become more and more obvious, and that was obvious with Jorge Ramos is Mexican originally, and his Miami is very Latino, but it's also it's not. I mean, he's had a couple Cuban wives. I mean, he's deeply involved in sort of Cuban American Miami also, but just with him, I just found myself at Univision, for instance, the people he's working with, this producer is Venezuelan, that editor is Colombian, the next person is from Ecuador, the next person is from Mexico, and on and on and on. It's just amazing. Like 9 people from 9 countries working at Univision, all living in Miami, and obviously really comfortable here. I mean, a great place for certainly for Latino immigrants, and I think maybe for immigrants generally. So that's a very strong impression of Miami.